We're not dead.
Well, thankfully, we're still alive. Okay, this is Jock Talk. It's radio memories where a couple of old disc jockeys talk about the good old days. Radio when it was alive, before it passed away.
When radio was alive, that's a good one. We're alive, but radio isn't so much anymore, is it?
No.
Pretty much canned.
Pretty much on a computer now. Yeah. But, we're going to talk about all the fun days and that's what we talk about here. The times that were exciting and that don't exist anymore, but we certainly remember them. And if you want to join in and talk about the stories that you remember the most, please join us and send us some stories or however you want to hook up with us. Please do so. You paid tribute, and I'm sorry. I was on assignment in North Korea when you paid. We can't go to North Korea. I was on assignment, but you paid tribute to Harry Nelson last week, and that was great. It was a beautiful tribute. But before we go on with our fun and frivolous and funny stories about radio, I just want to play one air check from 1979 at RKO 68 RKO. Of Harry Nelson, because this is good stuff. Kids, this is what it was all about. This is good stuff.
68 RKO and Harry Nelson for Dennis John Bailey doing a little reminiscing this afternoon of those high school days, Southern ladies, and Saturday nights at the drive-in. Deacon Blues, Steely Dan, the album Asia. It's 2:52, and Carolyn Murdoch will be up in a second.
Say, when was the last time you went out for steak?
Visit the ground round at any of the 13 Greater Boston locations, including Cambridge, Braintree, Alston, Danvers, Andover, Norwood, and Natick, too.
68 RKO updates the news. Woburn police have recaptured those 3 convicts who escaped last night. This is Carolyn Murdoch. Your next newscast is in 1 hour. Bulletins at once on 68 RKO.
WRKO, Boston. All right, ready. I'm all set to have a good time. It's Harry Nelson for Dennis John Bailey playing more of New England's favorite song. Here's Van Morrison. 68 RKO and Harry Nelson for Dennis John Bailey this afternoon, the only guy in the entertainment business who gets more days off than Johnny Carson. I don't understand it. I'm by the phone at 931-1668. You got a favorite song? Well, you've got to let me know what it is. I'm depending on you. You're the Doobies. 68 RKO and the Doobie Brothers, depending on you. That is from their latest album. It's 7 minutes after 3, and Harry Nelson here for Dennis John Bailey. I'm having a great time because I got some good music to play in the next few minutes, including some more Eagles. I have the Bee Gees and Donna Summer, too.
There you go, from WRKO 68 RKO, and that's from 1979, and still great radio. That's before he went to KFRC, and there's some great radio air checks of Harry Bud Nelson from KFRC. But the guy goes way back. But I had to play an air check, and you did such a wonderful job in a tribute, and you talked with your friend.
One of his best friends, John Holliday, friends with Harry, like brothers, for like 35 years. So he knew him well, and I figured he knew him a lot better than me. Let him tell the stories, because I remember some of those stories had me just peeing my pants on the floor when we worked together in Denver. He was hilarious.
Now let's talk about some fun, crazy radio stories, and let's kick it off with the 10Q Master Blaster. Oh, those fun top of the hour sounders that they used to play. Remember in the 70s, they kind of showed up in the 70s. They were a cheap way for radio stations that couldn't, pay for jingles for a top of the hour jingle. So radio stations would put together a little sounder and play it at the top of the hour. And that was 10Q, KTNQ, and they put together that sounder. That was one of my favorite sounders, and it always stood out to me. But, there were all kinds of fun little sounders. I worked for a radio station, and this was a crazy station, and I don't know if you've ever done this. This was early in my career. I went to a radio station, and the only other guy that was a major market guy was the program director, and that's why I went. It was medium market. So I go into this radio station. They have literally no budget. Nice facilities, though.
Right.
Nice facilities. So we go in there. I go in there, and it's not a real professional staff. They're pretty much new guys. I'd already worked in Los Angeles, so I'd worked with some real professionals. So I'm working with some amateurs pretty much, and the program director is taking advantage of this, and he has no budget, and he has no voice, so he's not on the air. So what we do is he decides that we're going to sing our jingles.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. This was probably one of the most outrageous things I've ever done. And this is the only time this has ever happened. So we go into the production room. He calls the air staff into the production room. And we have no singing voices whatsoever. We should not be singing these jingles. Right. And so he has us sing various jingles, various versions of the call letters.
The station call letters, right?
And we're so off key. It was so horrible. I'd never heard of it in my life, and
how did yours go? Go ahead, give it a shot. What name did you use?
It was Dave Schuyler.
Okay, so how'd it go? And you sang it.
Well, all of us sang it together. I mean, so you had the entire staff.
Come on.
And well, they put a little sounder in front of it, the program director, and it went, D-D-D-D, Dave Schuyler.
And like a shout, like a Dave Schuyler.
Yes,
oh, those are terrible. When you try to do them
So,
yourself.
and then the PD ended up doing the legal ID at the top of the hour, and he had no voice. So it was, I don't even want to mention the call letters because he has passed away. And he was a great music director in Los Angeles. He just had a different idea as far as a program director, and just a mixed up, messed up radio station. But not only did we sing our own jingles, but the whole formatic structure was so messed up because we would play 3 songs. Now, this was a top 40 radio station, keep in mind, but we would play 3 songs in a row, and then you would come out of the 3rd song announcing the first song that you played in that cluster.
Back selling all the way back to
the first song. Right.
Reading the phone book.
So anyway. Then you would say, so you would, do the first to the last. And then you would say the current temperature, and then you would say your name, and then you would do a tease for the next song. So let's say the Tom Tom Club is coming up next, and you would say the drums are beating for that genius of Amore up next.
By the time all that's said, all the listeners are gone anyway. So you're talking to them. Oh, you got nothing. Anyway.
It was a ridiculous radio station, and
it was a paycheck. Come on now.
And honestly, in that market, everybody else at least had a decent jingle package, and that was one of the silliest radio stations I had ever been a part of. But
out free. I don't know why they even didn't bother trading one out for you. It made you sing your own.
I have no idea why they didn't do that. But singing our own jingles was the most ridiculous, and singing our name jingles, and you had the entire staff. It wasn't just using maybe somebody with one good voice and then looping it. Oh, it was horrid. It was horrid. One of the funnest things I had, one of the funnest times in radio is when I was at KRLA, and Jim Ladd was next to me, and I'm sure Jim won't mind if I tell this story, because I was doing 3 to 7 in the afternoon on KRLA, and Jim was doing 7 to midnight, or no, 6 to 10 on KLSX, and it was almost like a Cheech and Chong movie. because every time he would open the door, it was like this big puff of smoke.
Oh, no.
And it was always
Right
and nicest guy in the world. Gave me a book, didn't ask for it. Gave me his book, autographed it, still have it to this day.
Did you read it?
Just a great guy. But it was always interesting to talk to Jim Ladd. I mean, he was who he was on the air, and I always loved the puff of smoke. Always got that high right before my last hour at KRLA. I'm over here playing the Manhattan's Shining Star. He's playing Kashmir, and we're all both pretty buzzed.
But
So anyway, those are some.
Mind for it, you know.
Yeah. Do you have any fun stories like that? Any crazy stories?
Please, I can't even say some of mine. I can't even say most of them. But the names can't be changed to protect the innocent if people are still alive. Anyway, there's a new holiday. Juneteenth is a new holiday. President Biden signed it into law today. How about we did a ton of promotions for 4th of July. So now there's the 4th of July, but before the 4th, there's an African-American Independence Day, Juneteenth. And that's celebrated Saturday. There's the day, but it's going to be celebrated tomorrow. So tomorrow is the very first Juneteenth. So may I be one of the first. We're taping this on Thursday. So in case you see this before Friday, happy Juneteenth, everybody.
And not only that, but a new radio station is signing on here in L.A. That was 1580 K-Day, which was an R&B radio station for a long time. Prior to that, it was a top 40 radio station, and Wolfman Jack was on that radio station. And then it became an R&B radio station for a long, long time. Heritage R&B radio station, 1580 K-Day. And now it's become KBLA, and I guess it signs on Juneteenth. I guess
Wow.
and it's a liberal talk radio station.
Interesting.
So yeah, and that signs on Juneteenth. So that is going to be interesting, and we wish them the best of luck too.
Liberal talk again here.
Yes, it's. Yeah, and it's Travis Smiley he's running that show, and it's called KBLA. Travis Smiley. I used to work with him at KKBT, The Beat, when I was doing 6 to 10.
It's all over TV too, you know.
At when we called it 92.3. No, we called it FM 92, The Beat, and then we called it 92.3, The Beat. But Tavis Smiley, that's his name. Anyway, he is running KBLA, and that signs on here Juneteenth, and that's going to be a new talk station here in LA on 1580 on your AM radio. So check that out. That's going to be interesting.
24 hours?
24 hours, yeah. On the old, 1580 K-Day frequency. So that's some good news.
No?
What's that?
The old K-Rock. That's not the old K-Rock, is it?
No, it's the old K-Day.
The old K-Rock's coming back, too, that signal.
AM 1500.
From Burbank, they moved it over to the west side. It's somewhere over the west side. It didn't go on yet.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that's going to be coming back, but nothing confirmed. So let's wait until we hear more about that. Don Elliott is the inside scoop, and he's a longtime radio guy here in L.A., and he's the guy. I want to give a shout out, first of all, to our friends in Phoenix, Captain Kurt Powers, who I love this guy because, you know what, I knew most of these guys because I used to visit my grandparents when I was a little kid, and I knew most of the guys from Phoenix, the disc jockeys. I knew listening to them as a kid before they and most of them showed up at 10Q, and I got to work with them later, like Dave Trout and Phil Flowers and Tony Evans, and Captain Kurt sent me a jingle. KRIC. which was the Kriz jingle, the KRIZ jingle. Larry McKay is the first jingle. Larry McKay is the first jock I heard. Larry McKay was a very famous jock here in the 70s.
Larry and I worked together at Y100, and then he worked at KHJ, but I wasn't there then. But we worked together in 74 at Y100.
And I first heard Larry at KRIZ in 1973 at KRIZ. And it's funny because a few months later, you know, when we came back home to LA, he was on KHJ. And that was pretty amazing. First time I heard Shotgun Tom Kelly was on KRIZ in Phoenix. Dave Trout, who became Freddie Snakeskin on KROQ. I worked with Freddie Snakeskin, Dave Trout at 10Q, and Tony Evans. Tony Evans was at Kriz, and Phil Flowers was at Kriz, and all ended up at 10Q. All these wonderful jocks, you know, it's been a wonderful experience, great times, and I want to talk about more about that stuff, but I know we want to make this a quick one today, so I just wanted to mention those guys, and thank you, Captain Kurt Powers, for you know, always your support. You demand, and also Don Elliott, you demand too. And he's got some great stories about KKDJ and KIIS and Kriz as well.
Remember Don Elliott's record where he did the voice? Next plane to London, leaving on runway number 9. Next plane to London, leaving on. Remember that song?
Don Elliott has some great stories.
That's his voice.
I'd love to get Don Elliott on this podcast because the guy's got some good stories. Anyway, I know we want to make this a quick one, but this is, you know, radio memories, and gosh, anything you guys want to.
I got a whole hotline story of how to get to WFIL in Philly. That was a hotline there too. You had Phoenix to LA, where we had Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and Allentown, and other areas in the area there to Philly hotline. That's how you got in there. And we'll talk about that next time.
Looking forward to it, too.
I got lucky because I got to do both. I got to do the East Coast hotline, the West Coast hotline, even in the middle hotline. Did a little Dallas, did some Toronto, you know. I didn't dig Canada as far as the weather, you know, but the people up there are great.
Yeah, but, you really got to experience it. You know, the only I pretty much have been a Southern California for the most part of my career, and a little bit of Northern California, and for a very quickie time in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And that was a little too cold. I was so happy to come home to Southern California. But we'll talk more about that and some more fun stories. And please share your stories too with us. Please. We'd love to hear from you. And Tony Cox, who left a message for us. If it's boring, don't watch the show. Got it? I've known Tony Cox forever. I'm wearing my 97.1 KLSX T-shirt.
I love it.
You know,
great condition too. Look at that thing.
Yeah. All right. Really good shape. And we'll talk more about this next time. Everybody.
CD stacked up. That's really an amazing shirt if you look at it. The technology that was there, and now look at where we're at. Download City.
You know, anyway, what's really funny is this T-shirt has cassettes on it. It's funny.
Oh no! I thought they were CDs. It's cassettes. Wow, that's an old T-shirt there.
Oh yeah.
Great shape.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, okay. I'm gonna have to dig some of mine out of the mothballs myself. There you go. I don't know if they'll fit though. Thank you, Skywalker.
Thank you, Banana Joe. We'll talk soon.
Jock Talk, and we're gonna be back with another episode in a couple of days. So stick around, stay tuned. You can get our Jock Talks at bananajoeradio.com. You could get them at the SecureNet site there on their server, on their hosts list. You could also get us on iTunes and Apple. We just started that yesterday. You get the audio version there. And if you don't get it where you like to get your podcast, just let me know, and I'll make sure it's there. Or we'll just deliver it to you, you know? We'll be like a pizza, 30 minutes or less.
That's right. We'll deliver it to you.
All right. This has been Jock Talk from Hollywood and Sunset Strip studios of Flashback Top 40 Radio, where It's Skywalker every afternoon. And me, Banana Joe, I'm on right now. Oh, my God, my record is ending. I better get going. Have a good one, guy. Take care, buddy.